right, coach. All right. So we were talking before we came out about I've called this drill of the day, but we're gonna come up with a new name at some point. But one thing you do at practice, coach, that we could share with another coach, something you do at practice that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and it's the easiest thing in the world to do, is to actually let kids have a good time, right? So the beginning of our practice, I'm telling you, I've been a head coach for 13 years. And in my first, 8, 9 years, I thought I had to start with this insane focus at the beginning of practice, and the kids were going to be more serious. And that's not my personality at all. And so I finally switched it up, and I have music on for the first 15, 20 minutes. The guys get after it. But I, poke fun of them. We try to stuff them the whole time in the drills. And I think it makes them want to be there. It like gets them going. It creates a really fun environment. And then we kind of bring it in and resettle and refocus. But I think sometimes we're missing that piece of just, kids have a lot of different options these days. And so we want to make it someplace that they want to be, Right. And so I think we can instill that fun in it right away.
You know what I've told coaches? Here's what I've told them. So I've done this at clinics I've spoken at. I said, close your eyes and imagine you woke up at 7 o'clock, you fed the kids, you kissed your wife or husband goodbye, you patted the dog, you went to work and got there at 7 and had a lunch meeting and worked all day and came home and worked till 4:35 and got in your car and drove home. And I said, can you all imagine that? And they go, yeah, we can imagine that. And I go, okay, when you walk in the door, imagine that as soon as you walk in that door, you have to be on your A+ game and you're going to do A, B, C, D, and E before you even eat dinner. And they go, well, that one. So I always ask the coach, I always say, well, how would that feel? I go, well, that would be hard. I go, okay, understand that these kids have been in school, focused in front of different people, adults, since 8 o'clock in the morning, focused. Had lunch and then come focus. So this is supposed to be, you're expecting them to be super focused when they walk in that gym. And this is what I was tired.
And high school kids, right? Like
high school kids. I'm a 35-year-old head coach and just starting. I had a hard enough time doing it. So I do the exact same. I don't put the music on because I can't figure out the whole thing. Our AD, if he's listening, needs to fix the music thing. Anyway, it's all messed up. It was good for a time, but I'm always joking with him. I'm asking him how school went. I'm also trying to read the room because I had a player this year. If he was having an off day, it was an off day. And I have 2 assistants that are outside the building and one that come. So they didn't I will go over to them and say, hey, student X is having an off day. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Yeah. He'll come around because I know I've read the room. And
you have that trust, right? Like you have that trust in your relationship. So you can go around and poke fun at the kids, are ready to take it and ready to I'm trying to steal the ball from all of them. I'm pushing them. I'm banging into them. And you get it just in about 10 minutes, which one's ready and which one's not. Right. The other thing I'd say too, though, is you got to create that time. I really try to create that time at the end of practice. So if we do the beginning thing, have some fun, we get after it during practice. And then if I know the girls are coming in after us, then I'll try to end 15 minutes, 10 minutes early. So those guys can have that one-on-one BS time, against each other. They're joking around, throwing up half court shots. I get to go around, like you were saying, have those little conversations, build those relationships. It's something that's just so important. And I think has been a big reason that, our team has able to come together.
Yeah, the locker room, we have a really nice locker room that we redid maybe about 10 years ago. So I really try to leave that locker room as their space too. I will go in if I have to go in after, but that's a lot of the time. Now, I also believe that's probably where COVID came through during the middle of December. Exactly, right? Anyway, it was either that or one of the bus trips, but anyway, but I try to leave that. Try to be their sanctuary. That's where they can go, they can mess around, they can, be friends. And we talk about decor and how they should behave themselves and stuff, but it's a pretty comfortable space for them, I think too. But I agree. And I think that trust part is really important too. I agree, Coach. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. All right, Coach, do you have a favorite drill or something you do at practice that a golden nugget is what I referred to them as, that you'd want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I think it's no magic X and O or any of that kind of stuff. But we love to do a perfect defense drill is what we call it. We just call it perfect defense, and we set it up some different ways. One way would be, just trying to get 3 stops in a row to get out. I know that's kind of a popular thing in coaching too, the 3 stops in a row, and so we'll do it that way, and we can talk more about that later if we want to. Or we'll put a minute on the clock, and you've got to get a minute's worth of stops to get out. But if you kind of visualize it in your head, we're literally playing 5-on-5 in the half court. The offense starting behind the timeline. The defense is already set inside the 3-point line, ready to guard. And then I'll place myself on the baseline with a whistle. My assistants will be on the sideline. And when we say perfect defense, like we mean perfect defense. And we want it to be challenging. We want it to be hard. We want to see how guys interact when they face some adversity together. I think that's a big part of why we do it. So let's use the example of a minute on the clock. So we'll start the clock at a minute. That clock's running. The offense comes down. We kind of let them do whatever they want to do. And then I'll tell the guys before the start of the drill, hey, if there's no hand up, I'm blowing it dead. The clock resets to a minute. If we don't talk, it goes to a minute. If a guy's not in a stance, it goes back to a minute. And
I like that. I actually like that better. I like that almost better in some respects, because I the 3-stop thing, I think a lot of people, I like the minute in the sense that, especially if you're a high school coach and you're listening to this and you have a clock, it's more of a visual thing for them.
That's
right.
I
mean, they see it clicking down.
No question.
Yeah, the 3-stop thing, they know 3 stops, but it's not a visual thing for them.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, because the 3 stops, I'll tell you, there's science done on 3s. People remember things in 3s. So we always in our program, we talk about, like, near the end of a game or at some point in a game, we got to get a stop, a score, and a stop, and we're going to win. Or a score, a stop, and a score. It's a little piece. The game is relatively simple. But it's a little things, and it's like, there's 2 minutes left. I go, hey, we get a stop, a score, and a stop. This thing's over. Like, so they can micro that into their brains, and that's where I like the minute. And with the younger teams, like if you're a freshman, I would maybe do 30 seconds, and then you can build it up.
No question.
Yeah,
no
I
question.
love that. I love that. So do you have specific things you're looking for, or is it a wide range of perfect stops?
Yeah. So it's going to depend on the day, right? And what our emphasis is. So it might be hand up on every closeout, or it might be just guys talking. So if I catch one guy without him talking, what you're doing, right? I'm in help. I'm one pass away, whatever that might be. And then we'll have some things that are building that are automatic resets. Offensive rebound, automatic reset. We're back to a minute. The other reason I like the clock, you talked about the clock, is we can do late clock situations too. So if it gets under 5, we might do a baseline out of bounds. There'll be some days where we say, hey, if you force a turnover, we're just going to run 10 seconds off the clock. So, and then with those possessions, so let's say it's a minute, that first possession takes 15 seconds. Now we've got 45 seconds left, and they're trying to run the clock out without it resetting. But or we might script the offense. It might be, hey, you have to start with a ball screen or whatever it might be, or run one of our actions or whatever we want to work on. But it's good. It's good competitiveness. And like, I like to see, like I talked about at the beginning, like those defenders, it's 5, 4, 3, somebody misses a box out and it resets to a minute. Now they're, that's stuff that happens in a game. How do they respond to those things together?
Peer pressure.
It's fun to see those in practice. No doubt.
Yes. It's the peer pressure and how they communicate and how they talk to each other when they, it's like there's 10 seconds left and someone messes up. That's important. Yeah, I think that's a great skill. That was awesome. Thank you, Coach.